time for a 9.8 pre-screen. 10 books in this box. Well, hopefully 10 books in this box. I don't think it's 10, but it's a lot. It could be 7, 8, 9. Who knows? Let me go ahead and get it open and we'll find out. All right, without looking at the actual books, I did count 8 in there, so that is a successful pre-screen. I've got some good stuff in here. If the right books get the 9.8, there could be some money here. I'm just going to pull randomly from the box, and let's see which of these 10 books got the 9.8. All right, starting off with a bang here. This is a big bang. G.I. Joe, Real American Hero #1. Baxter paper, a little bit higher quality paper on these books from the 80s. But I bought this as a 9.6 slab for about $300. And it's worth a lot more than that in a 9.8, obviously. I thought the book looked perfect when I bought it. That's why I bought it. Got a really good price on it. And did not take much work to get this book to the 9.8. In fact, I think it was a little bit undergraded initially. It had a couple indentations in it that were very easy to get out. But even with those, I thought this book was still a 9.8. So this was literally 5 minutes of repair work. Throw it in the press, send it to CGC, show me the money, right? So these are the ones you really want to look for when you're looking to buy, crack, and press and sell, because they're a little bit hard to find. Now, this is not something you come across every day. So the next one, pull from the other end of the box. All right, a very cool. This is not extremely rare. This is Transformers #16, but it is the newsstand, which gives it a little bit more value. This one I paid $33 for, and you will not believe, actually I put it on the screen probably, you will believe what this is worth, but it's just insane how much more the newsstands are worth than the directs because of that rarity. But not a key, nothing like that, but it's hard to find a 9.8 in a newsstand, so that's what gives it its value. Look at that black cover. Extremely hard to get a 9.8 with that cover, and that adds to the rarity of it. So very, very, very cool. Let's see what else we got. Let's pull from the same side. Silver Surfer #1. It's the third Silver Surfer series, but I just absolutely love this cover. I love this book. It was a very cool story. I definitely recommend picking this one up. You can still get it for a very affordable price. It's not a high dollar book. I got this one for $12. So the next book, let's pull from the middle now. Let's see what we can get. Another cool book from the 80s, Roger Rabbit. Now this is actually the 90s, early 90s, 1991. It is a newsstand. A lot rarer in the early 90s to find a newsstand. Okay, let's pull from the original end again. All right, we're halfway there. All right, another Transformers. Now these 79, I think somebody told me in one of the comments recently, thank you for that 78, 79, and 80 are the hardest to find copies of Transformers, and I believe it. It was supposedly a really low print run. Now this is not a newsstand, but still very hard to find. I've looked for these books. I look for them often, and they're just not out there. I mean, anytime I see one that's super ultra high grade, I pick it up or try to. And but I did only pay $33 for this book. That's a really good price on a high grade copy because I think it's worth significantly more in a 9.8. And this was just a really nice book. It caught my eye. I can't argue with that. Not going to keep it in the PC. I collect the lower Transformers, below 50. Certainly 10 and below mostly. But I do still like these books. Transformers is my favorite comic series of all time. It's the first one I really purchased. And yeah, so I mean, anytime I see a Transformers high grade, I don't care which issue it is, I pick it up. I just can't help myself. All right, down to the nitty gritty now. Still some big books left that I've not found yet, so fingers crossed that we get at least one of them. Obviously, the biggest book we got so far was the G.I. Joe, I believe. Let's see what we can get now. Okay. Yes. Wow. I can't believe I'm holding a newsstand 9.8 white pages of X-Men 266. This is going to the PC and staying there. very, very, very hard to get a 9.8 newsstand of this book from what I understand. Certainly took me a lot of trying to get this book. I paid $211 for this book, and I believe it was a 9.4 slab. So yeah, saw it looked undergraded, looked like it wasn't pressed before, so I bought it as a 9.4. I did buy it as a slab 9.4. And the value on a 9.8 newsstand of this book is insane. Just insane. Makes me almost be like, why don't I sell this thing and buy like a whole bunch of other raw copies and go for it again? Now I see some kind of weird something on this slab here, like scuffs or something. I don't know if you can see that. May not show up. It's probably not going to show up. There's a weird line of scuffs right here, which is very annoying. Now, Polywatch might be able to clean that up. I certainly will do that, but why should I have to do that? Thank you, CGC, for the quality control. I really appreciate that. Make sure there's nothing else wrong with this slab. That's just nuts. But luckily it's in a spot I think I can clean it up. If you get one up here, I think Polywatch will take this off, the silver part here, so you don't want to do that. But I did a video on removing scuffs and scratches with Polywatch. I'll put a link in the description and right up here as well for you. But yeah, I better check through the rest of the slabs, make sure that's not like that, because usually when you get something like that on one, multiple copies will have that. So you always gotta like kill my buzz, don't you, CGC? I mean, you give me this grade on this beautiful book worth a ton of money. Well, we'll give him the grade, but let's just put some scuffs here for him. I mean, it seems like every single time, I don't know if you've been following the channel long enough, but it seems like there's always something, some quality control thing that just, it can never be a perfect submission with CGC. There's always something. I don't always talk about it on camera because I try to keep these videos positive, but I look through every single one of these slabs that comes back with a fine-tooth comb, and there's always something. There's a scuff, a scratch, a tiniest little crack or something, and it just drives me nuts that they can't get better. And then the last unboxing I didn't do it in this one, I should have. I shook the box just lightly. Obviously I didn't go crazy with it, but everything moves around in the box, and that's the #1 rule with shipping comics, CGC. You secure it so nothing can move in there, and if it does move, it's moving up against like bubble wrap or something really cushiony. But that is the #1 rule, is you put layers between the box and the books, double box, that type of thing, and you don't let much movement happen inside the box. Correct me if I'm wrong. Am I wrong about this? Why can't you get that right, CGC? Why? This is your business. But yeah, just work on your shipping, please. Please. Why? Your quality control, man. Don't let anything like that slip through the cracks. All right, 2 more books. Let's see what we got. Already, this is like one of the best submissions I've ever had because of that X-Men 266. That's just crazy. So let's get one more. All right. Okay, another big key here. First appearance of Beta Ray Bill in a newsstand, 337. This book has a little bit of history on it. I bought this one also as a 9.4. And once again, it looked like it had not been pressed. And this one was a little more challenging to get to the 9.8, but not that big of a heavy of a lift, not any more than I do on any of my other books. And I believe I bought, now that I think about it, I may have bought both of these in an auction, and I think the auction was Collector's Comics. I don't know if you guys know about Collector's Comics. I did a little review of it a few months ago, and yeah, they were 0% seller fees. He's since started charging, but it's still lower fees than you're going to get most other places. Yeah, he does his auctions once a quarter. I'll put a link to the description of Collector's Comics. I believe it's collectorscomics.com, but if you want another place to find books once a quarter, this is a great place. You got to check it out, man. I got some deals on these books. There's some good books out there in his auction. He's got just a ton. You have to check it out because it is once a quarter, but it's over 3 or 4 days he does the auction. And yeah, put a bid in. And if you want to sell books and get a pretty good if you consider the lower fees and everything, you're probably going to get a slightly lower price than you would on like eBay, but you won't be killed as much by the fees and everything. And you send them to him, he handles the shipping and all that stuff as well. So definitely check out Collector's Comics. Very, very cool. We got one more big book, but it was the book with the most defects as well, so I'm not anticipating getting that one. I think it's just an outside chance of 9.8, but it was worth a shot, you know. All right, let's see what it is. Okay, we did not get the big one, which was Wolverine number 8, which is not like a giant book, but big enough. I mean, it's a pretty high-value book in a 9.8, but instead we got, I mean, I'm not trying to diminish this book, because this is also a very cool book. Paid $22 for it, and I thought it was a 9.6 when it came in, and it was very, very easy to work on. It's once again, it's hard to find. The higher the number you get on Transformers, the harder it is to find these on a high grade. So the two I didn't get the 9.8 on were a Wolverine 8, which I think probably half the time would get the 9.8. And the other one was, I believe, a Transformers 23, which I thought would get the 9.8. So I may have to check that one out and see why. I may have to pre-screen that one again, because I expected to get that one in a 9.8. But we'll see. Okay, another successful submission. Exceeded expectations on this one. I was hoping just to get one of these books in a 9.8, and I got all three. We almost hit all four of the big books in this submission, because normally when I put a submission together, I'll do, you know, 3 or 4 big books, a few middle-of-the-road value-wise books, and then a couple just, you know, ones that I just like, that just catch my eye. I collect because I love them, not necessarily because they're valuable. So, yeah, this one turned out really good. All white pages, all 9.8s. There's a lot of money sitting right here in my hands right now. And I'm going to find a good home for 2 of them. And this one is going to stay in my home. You'll probably see it on the wall. In fact, why not? Man, what book am I going to replace up here to put this one in its place? I actually have an X-Men 266 9.8 right up here. That's a direct copy. So I'm going to replace that one with this one. Because I always go for the newsstand. I'm just, as you guys know that have been following the channel, I'm just a newsstand nut. So thanks for watching. Stay nerdy, and I'll see you in the next video. And yeah, he does them